You know, in the sport of tennis, there's only one motherfucker that won 70 titles as a singles competitor and 70 titles as a doubles competitor.
That's right.
7 fucking Grand Slams, this guy.
Damn.
7 Grand Slams. Absolute dog. And on April 2nd, he will be competing for a $1 million prize in a pickleball tournament that'll be aired on ESPN with Andre Agassi, Andy Roddick, and Michael Chang. Ladies and gentlemen, John McEnroe.
Yay! Thanks for having me on.
Hey, thank you for joining us, boss man. Obviously, I have known of your existence for a long time. I think like most people, my introduction to you was you just asking for a little accountability from these refs. Just a little bit of accountability from the umps. I think that's how we were all kind of introduced. And then as we see you in movies
That's right.
and everything like that, we've all become big fans. We appreciate you taking time here. Let's dive right into it. Hey, this pickleball tourney's for $1 million, pal. Are you pickleballing every day? Is this just like a natural transition for a tennis player?
Well, you know, as we get older, we cover less and less of the court, so this seemed to make more sense since it's about a third the size. But I'm not a big pickleball guy. You know, it beats my body up, but this was sort of too good to pass up to be playing against my old buddy Andre Agassi, Andy Roddick, and Michael Chang as a partner. I mean, this pickleball thing's crazy. I don't get it, but in the meantime, you know, hopefully it'll be fun, and hopefully it'll bring some interest to the sport that I do really care about, which is tennis.
Okay, I love that you said that, just strictly because we wondered how the pickleball community would feel, because there's pickleball pros and pickleball leagues and everything going on, and then tennis guys coming in and playing. Is there a little tennis pickleball beef, you think, in the world of batting balls over a net in a confined space?
Well, I'm amazed that people take it quite as seriously as they apparently do compared to our sport. But that's, you know, for other people to decide. I would compare it to the NFL. It's like a poor man's arena football. You know.
Whoa.
Unfortunately, you know, what you can do with the ball is limited. It's plastic. You've got little rackets like you're playing racquetball or squash. But a lot of my buddies like to play with me. You know, it's a leveler playing field, obviously. They think they can beat me, and in some cases, probably some of them could, not the ones that I've been playing with recently. But we'll see. You know, I don't know how much they're playing either. So, you know, I've been working more just trying to have the body feel good because, you know, as you get a little older, a little bit tougher to keep the body in tip-top condition.
How old are you, John?
I am 64 years old.
Hell yeah, you look good. Hey, John.
Yeah.
You look good. Are you a guy that's one of those, like, every morning you work out and you're in shape, or if you had to really get back into shape for this, even though you're 64, you're always going to have to, you know, be a little bit in pain, I assume. I'm not going to make it to 64, but that's what I've heard about what it's like.
I'm lucky that I didn't play your sport. You know, I had some friends that I knew that, you know, it's tough. Way tougher than what we did. But, you know, running on concrete is not easy. But I've always been one to stick with it. I haven't really ever let go of like working out. So I'm actually feel like I feel pretty good for my age. I'll say that. But, you know, in pickleball, you're not doing a whole lot of running, obviously, because it's a tiny court. But you do have to bend a little, which isn't good as, you know, you stiffen up. But generally, you know, I've always kept at it. So this hasn't been like that difficult. If anything, I would prefer to play less because the next day, you know, doctors are going to be thrilled with pickleball. You know, these people are going to get hurt left and right. So, you know, you think you can walk out there and, oh, yeah, this is great. We'll just have some fun here and not worry about the body. And, you know, they tear an Achilles and they're like, oh, maybe I should have warmed up.
It's a great time. We play here. We have a version of pickleball here in our studio here. And, you know, it's Thunderball is what we call it because it's kind of a take on pickleball. And to your point, a lot of the rules of pickleball, they do try to take out the athleticism of it. They try to limit some things so it does feel as if everybody can play. Their strategy, though, have you started working up near the kitchen? You got your kitchen work ready? I mean, that feels like more of a ping pong operation than a tennis one at that particular case.
Well, I don't know if you ever saw me play tennis, but naturally I like to move forward, which I think is advantageous in pickleball. I don't want to give Agassi any ideas because he likes to stay in the baseline. So just stay back there as long as you want, Andre. And, Roddick had one of the biggest serves in the history of our sport. But, in pickleball, you can't serve overhand. So he lost that advantage also. So this gives us old farts, me and Michael Chang, a chance at this. So, and if you're in the front court in pickleball, you want to hit a lot of balls to me, in the air, just outside. Why they call it the kitchen or why it's called pickleball, I have no idea. It doesn't sound particularly cool to me, but we've always had trouble in my sport to get our sport to be considered sort of cool or, thought of in the same way as the other bigger sports. So it's been a frustration for 45 years for me. I'm going out and yelling at an umpire and sometimes saying choice words, and I'm guessing that they're not saying hello, how are you on the football field. And how dare a tennis player curse or say something mean to the umpire. Outrageous. So always wanted to be thought of sort of in the same way as the other sports, but that's been an uphill battle.
Yeah, I think it's because the setting, the environment kind of calls for it to almost be of a higher, hey, we don't do that here type thing.
Gentlemen.
So I think that's why a lot of us related with you, because we're like, hey, tennis has a fucking dog over there. Can't wait to see how you perform in the pickleball slam and the doubles. I mean, you're a doubles champ. You'll be able to work the kitchen.
Simple.
Excited to watch you do your thing April 2nd on ESPN for $1 million prize, plus giving away a bunch of money as well to the winners. Let's talk about you and the refs, because obviously it is a multi-sport issue now, John. I don't know if you know this. Like, officiating is at its absolute worst, but it feels like tennis has it figured out because they have the entire court lasered pretty much. And we get to see that this thing's like a millimeter out of bounds. I couldn't even fathom back in the day before that happened how frustrating it would have had to have been to have a much better view on it than the people that are making the call. And I don't know, millions of dollars and millions of eyes being on the line and that call being wrong. Do you think you're a massive part of the change of the review system of tennis? And how can we make it fucking like that everywhere? Why is tennis so much better than everybody else now when it comes to reviews, you think, John?
Well, first of all, first time I went to London to play Wimbledon, I'd see linesmen and umpire that appeared to be older than my grandfather and may or may not have been awake sometimes. And I'm thinking, how the hell does anyone think when we watch and hit hundreds of thousands, if not millions of balls that we don't see the ball better than they do? But they didn't seem to buy into that. Despite the fact they'd make terrible calls, they'd still insist that you behave absolutely properly. So that didn't go over too well. But, after a while, Connors, myself, maybe Nastasi, they felt like the inmates were running the asylum a bit too much. So at that point, they tightened up the rules and they try to take the personality out of our sport. And Lord knows in our game, a one-on-one game, in my opinion, you need personality. And so they sort of stifled that. So I think they figured out over the course of time that was a bad idea. And tennis is the only sport, though, actually. You always have these judgment calls. There's a penalty on every play in football. You could make the same argument in basketball. You wonder why. I'd go crazy if I was a baseball player and an umpire gave a pitcher the outside, part of the plate.
Oh, you in a batter's box with an outside curve call. Oh, my God. That would be awesome.
I think that's what the plate's for. I believe the plate's for, if it's over the plate, it's a strike. If it's not, it's not. So that would be something that would be frustrating. But tennis is the only sport where, you're sort of in this rectangle. And now they figured out a way to, get all the lines covered. There's no linesman. I only worry about the conspiracy part of this. There's some guy up in the top of the stadium that's doing this computer thing. Come on. That could happen also.
Oh, John. That could, John. I don't even want to think of that because of how close it is.
Oh, yeah.
All you need is one
and
glitch.
Then put the one out that's an inch out.
John! John, that can't be happening. Is that happening?
Honestly, do we know if it's 100% accurate? I don't think we know the answer. I think there's a plus or minus. But I will say that it is comforting for the players ultimately. You got to buy into it. I bought into it. Fine. The fans seem to like it. The players. You don't even need to have linesmen or umpires anymore. So maybe I did have something to do with that. Get rid of these guys and give the money they were given to linesmen. Lord knows why they're getting any, but give it to the players.
I'm sure there was a couple good ones every once in a while, but the whole thought of
very rarely.
The thought of a tennis player clearly seeing the ball go out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Then they run the fucking replay and it's on the line. And then immediately you go, they just fucked me. They just, like that, is that why you feel that way? Is because if you've been in that situation or if you were in that situation, you'd be like, that's clearly wrong though. And everybody is just 100% bought in on it. Because I heard it in your answer there. The fans clearly have bought into this. Some of the players have bought into it. Are you thinking that those situations happen and we don't really get to see it because we all just are blind believers in the laser system that we're shown?
I'm hoping not. Let's
okay, good. Okay, good. That's a big deal.
I'm hoping not.
Because I look at that thing with bated breath. I'm like, I thought it was in. I thought it was in. Ty has a question for you, John.
John, when you look at the state of tennis right now, and you got guys like Nadal and Federer who are obviously done, and like some of the, I mean, with the exception of Djokovic, it's kind of a period of transition almost. Do you think that professional tennis is worried at all about the growth of pickleball, or do you think the guys who are going to go play pro pickleball are going to continually be the guys who can't hack it professionally in tennis?
Both. I think that there's a concern in tennis, obviously, when you have the three greatest players that ever lived just about to stop playing. I don't know how much longer Djokovic and Nadal can go on.
Well,
this guy Alcaraz is electric. He's like, one of the all-time players potentially, so that's good. I wonder the same thing, is pickleball helping or hurting tennis? I think that for the most part, to me, the best athletes are going to still go towards tennis. There's no question about it. But I think it's important for us to try to get, the Michael Jordans, the great athletes, young growing up that play 2 or 3 sports. LeBron James play 2 or 3 sports. Try to get those kids interested in tennis, like the Williams sisters. In the women's game, the girls, the playing field's more level in tennis than any other sport by far. I mean, tennis, they get 15 times more than the WNBA gets. And the best athletes, therefore, play tennis, which is good for us. In tennis, in the men's, there's football first, then there's basketball. There could be baseball. Now soccer is growing. You can stick 20 kids on a soccer field or something the size of a tennis court. Pickleball, you can put 2 or 3 pickleball courts.
Yeah.
Ka-ching. That's all it is. Ka-ching. Okay? You got tennis up here, somewhere way above there. Then you got racquetball, these other games. Pickleball, where the hell did that come from? This has been around 60 years, for God's sakes. Now all of a sudden they're saying it's bigger than tennis. I'm like, wow.
Whoa.
This is
maybe just participation, though. You got to think maybe it's just participation because, we're all. How old are you, Connor?
I'm 27.
He's 27 years old. Never played tennis, I don't think, right?
Never
was
once.
a tennis player.
Nope.
But played ping pong. So we're ping pong
Take a look
players.
at him. Look at him. Don't worry.
Exactly, John. I weigh 300 pounds.
Just teasing it.
Yeah, whatever, dude.
Yeah, but it is great. It is a great, it's a great little cardio activity that is pretty easy to do. So I think it's going to be a tough road for pickleball to try to catch up to tennis when it comes to prestige, when it comes to sport.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
But I think
if that happens, then there's an apocalypse. Okay, if that happens, so just keep that in mind. Because if we even get close to that, we got some serious problems. But that doesn't mean it's not good for people to go out there and hit a pickleball.
There you go.
And get a little. The pickleball doubles is watched or it's played way more than singles. Why is that? The court's already a third the size or whatever it is of tennis. Now they're playing doubles. I mean, what is it? So you can sit in a chair while you're at it? I mean, come on. But thankfully, since I'm not getting any younger, the 60s is rough.
Yeah, you might be in a chair. Yeah.
it makes sense for me. So maybe I'll be like Bobby Riggs. I'll play someone sitting in a chair.
That's what I'm saying. You come. What was that guy that did the chair workouts that sold him for a bunch of money on TV?
He went missing for a long time.
Yeah. He would do the chair work. Imagine McEnroe.
Richard Simmons.
Well, there's also others, but certainly Richard Simmons was missing. We hope he's okay.
Okay.
You can underhand serve from that wheelchair.
Oh yeah,
Simple.
And then
Is that why Pat, you wear that sleeveless shirt because you're trying to model after Richard Simmons?
I wish I was as healthy and handsome, obviously. John, last question. But I think it is a sport that, I don't think the tournaments, but activity-wise, I think it is an activity that is very easy for a lot of people to participate in. Pac-Man has a question for you. Last one here, John. We appreciate you.
John, I totally agree with you on the athletic ability that you have to play pickleball, which is zero, because I haven't won a game here.
Yeah, that's right.
This asshole have beaten me every time.
The guy you said that, of course, never played has beat Pac-Man Jones, runs 4.28.
Yeah.
I mean, that is.
What's up, John? Eat it. How about that?
John, you got
Pac-Man, he's very intense, so I'm surprised he's not. You don't want to lose twice. I don't know if that's happened, but that's got to be enough to make you quit or work at it, because you're very intense out there on the field.
It's got me working at it. So, do you got any pointers for me?
There we go.
I'm not the right guy to ask about pointers for pickleball.
You're playing for $1 million next weekend, John. Figure it the fuck out, dude. What are we doing?
Well, here's my advice then. You used to backpedal a lot. Forget the backpedaling part. Move forward.
Okay.
Get to the net as much as possible.
Atta baby. Hey, it sounds like you do have pickleball figured out. Can't wait to watch you guys compete in doubles. Also happening, same weekend, Amateur Pickleball Slam Tournament. Top amateur teams of 2 playing on March 31st and April 1st at Plantation Central Park for a $10,000 prize. Winners of the Amateur Pickleball Slam Tournament will also have the chance to compete against the legend.
Wow.
Wow. Some of these pickleballers are coming on here. Ladies and gentlemen, 7-time Grand Slam champion of tennis. Now, one of the faces of pickleball, John McEnroe.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, John. Appreciate you, buddy.